Lord Mayor.
So we've all got a very exciting night ahead, haven't we? It takes me back a bit. I wanted to say to everybody here, thank you very much for all you've done and participating in elections, which is wonderful. I have a lot of experience of participating in elections. I actually fought my first election at school when I was 16. I lost. So the first lesson to all of you, as you wait for the results, if you lose, don't ever give up. As long as you fight for what you believe, and you keep fighting for what you believe, you'll probably get there at the end, but it may take a while. It is much better to do that than to find the shortcuts and try and do things in a simple way, because democracy depends on people like you doing what you've done. It depends crucially on that, and it's so, so important. So I want a very big thanks to all of you, and particularly the participants, because you've made this election possible. You've done some wonderfully exciting things, because you're doing things that are very different to when I was first interested in politics. We didn't have school councils then. That's something that's developed as well. We didn't have perhaps the technological methods. We certainly didn't. I think Councillor Dempster, who's following me, we are of a generation where we didn't have, we didn't know what Twittering was. Well, we did, but it wasn't what you mean. And we have to be careful how we use our language there. And we didn't have Facebook. There is a campaign, I gather, in the city which I thoroughly disapprove of, saying get Roger Blackmore onto Facebook. But this would be technically require quite a bit of education. But that's something you've done. You've also been talking about issues, which I think is great. The issues that matter to people. Really, most of them are in local government. Our schools, our housing, our roads, our social service, all that sort of thing. I know it's heresy to say so, but to many people, the things that local government's about, the things that you deal with at school, are much more real than the things that we talk of loosely as national politics. Because what goes on in our city, in our streets, in our neighbourhood, in our community, is the sort of thing we must learn to influence. Because if we don't influence that, what chance have we got of influencing the bigger things in the world, issues like war and peace and foreign policy? So have you all enjoyed it, taking part in elections? That's good, because that is the very first thing. That, you know, if you're going to get involved, I hope you do, in politics, always enjoy it. Even if you get tough times, you can always laugh at the funny things that happened. I was going to tell you a funny story, but I think it's partisan political, and of course I'm not party political, so I better not. I have having fought, I think it's 12 elections in my life, apart from my school election, that's 13. That's quite a lot. But this time, in the parliamentary election, I'm not going to be taking part, because as Lord Mayor, I am non-political. And as your Lord Mayor, therefore, I have another role to perform, helped by Perry Holmes, who'll talk to you later. I'm the returning officer. Do you all know what the returning officer does? It's my first time, so I've got to learn, but one of the jobs I have to do is to receive the nominations for candidates, like I saw a number of you when you were doing that in the town hall, remember? And you were getting ready for the elections. And then, I'm right, am I not, Mr. Holmes, I have to declare the results, which is something we have to do probably on the 7th of May. So you will have a chance to see a national election just after you've had your own elections. So you'll get quite a good view of politics in the round. And I hope during the general election you'll at least take a look at television sometimes, radio, the internet and newspapers. At least you'll see then how it works and how it doesn't work. And where it doesn't work, you'll be the people who have to make it better. So, can I finish by saying, again, very well done to all of you. It's lovely to see, if I may say so, so many councillors present on this occasion through the I have got. In fact, there's lots more. I thought there was only 5. There's at least 7 of you there. It's you, Councillor Badger, at the back. It's lovely to see you, Councillor. I do want to thank them, because that has been extremely useful. I know Councillor Naylor and Councillor Newcombe, we've been working with schools, have we not, to try and show people more about how politics can work, how the issue of changing things, trying to influence our communities for the better, can best be done. So thank you, councillors, very much for all you've done in taking part. And I'm now going to hand over to a senior councillor in charge of children's services, Councillor Mrs Dempster. This is quite interesting, actually, because Mrs Dempster, besides being an incredibly important councillor, is also a constituent of mine. Because that's how it works out, you see. She lives in the ward that I represent. So, my august constituent, would you like